Welcome to Theology in 3. Pastor Michael Fueling with you, and today we're going to be talking about the Davidic covenant. This is the covenant that God made with King David of ancient Israel. So before we get into the details of the Davidic covenant, let's first define what a covenant is. A covenant in the ancient Near East and in the Bible is a sacred contract between two parties. Most covenants were what is called conditional covenants, meaning that if you obeyed the terms of the covenant or the contract, there would be blessings. If you disobeyed the terms of the covenant or the contract, there would be cursings. The covenant that God made with David is not a conditional covenant, but an unconditional covenant, meaning that God is making a promise to David. He's going to keep that promise whether or not David is good or bad, whether or not David obeys God's word or disobeys. God's promises are contingent on his character, and because God said he was going to do it, he's absolutely going to do it. Now, you can find the terms of the Davidic covenant in 2 Samuel chapter 7. And what I want to do is I want to share with you 4 highlights from the Davidic covenant. And here's the first. God made a promise to David that David would have an eternal legacy. 2 Samuel chapter 7, God says this, "I will make for you a great name, like the name of the great ones on the earth." Now, David is a king. He already knows he's going to have some sort of legacy. But what God says is, you're not just going to be like one of those kings who comes and goes. You are going to be remembered with the greatest leaders in the world. And we're still talking about him thousands of years later. The second promise that God gave to King David was that his people would have a secure home. Verse 10 says this, "I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them so that they may dwell in their own place and be disturbed no more." And God would take the nation of Israel and he would plant them in the nation of Israel in the city of Jerusalem. But also this looks forward to an eternal home, the new earth for the people of God who are also the people of the faith of David. The third promise that God gave to David was that his people would one day experience military rest and peace. Verse 10 goes on and says, "Violent men shall afflict them no more as formerly, from the time that I appointed judges over my people Israel, and I will give you rest from all of your enemies." And what God was looking forward to was a time on the new earth when one of the offspring of David, Jesus himself, would reign over the entire world and would usher in peace as a part of the lineage of David. Now, the fourth and last promise that God gave to King David was that through David's lineage, there would be an eternal dynasty. Solomon was the first fulfillment. Solomon was David's son, but Jesus was going to be the forever fulfillment. In verse 16, it says, "Your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. Your throne shall be established forever."